Simple cooking that is quick enough to make any day of the week. Chicken and mushrooms smothered in a Chinese home-style gravy doesn't get better than this. Hey everyone, I'm Flo. Dude is behind the camera and we're all about simple food, simple faith. And we're making a chicken and mushroom dish that is inspired by my mom. And if you think I can't be bothered, she is like the queen of can't be bothered. Her cooking is super simple because she's just trying to get a meal on the table, especially after she's been working all day. I remember taking my mom to a restaurant probably when I was in my 20s, so my tastes were not so developed then, and she made a comment about the dish that she ordered, which was some sort of chicken smothered in some sort of gravy. And she said, you know, the chicken was really tasteless. It's like they just cooked the chicken and poured us gravy on top, which is probably true. But what I appreciate about Chinese cooking is that the common practice is to marinate the meat, and there's a reason for that. It infuses the meat with flavor, and it doesn't take long. You don't have to marinate all day long. Just what I do is I just put the meat, marinate it while I prepare the rest of the ingredients, and it makes such a huge difference. All right, we're gonna start with about a pound of chicken. I have about 1.5 pounds here because it's got the bones in there and the skin on. Now I bought this because the package was buy one, get one free, so I'm not gonna pay the same amount for a smaller portion of boneless, skinless chicken. I'm just gonna do it myself. And it's fairly easy to do. So on the back, if you flip your thigh over, you see the bone is here, and I just kind of cut on one side of the bone. You can see that. And then I try to get just around the bone to get all the meat. And then I save the bones so that we can make soup with it or chicken broth with it afterwards. And I just put them in a bag, throw them in the freezer so that we have bones to make soup with. I remember watching an episode of, I think it's Martin Yan, and he debones a whole entire chicken in like 18 seconds. I don't know, it probably took me 18 seconds to debone this one thigh. All right, I'm keeping the skin on, but you can surely remove that skin if you like. The skin is full of flavor. And I'm gonna cut this up into about 1.5 inch pieces and toss them in the bowl. Well, with the cost of food going up so much, so a package of this chicken was, what, 8 thighs for $16, and then it was buy one, get one. So I got 16 thighs for $16. That's like $1 each. Otherwise, I would have gotten, I don't know, maybe 6 boneless, skinless thighs for $16. This, just deboning it myself. And I'm only deboning 4 pieces, so the other ones I can use and make fried chicken or something else and just leave the bone on. But I'm saving $16 on a whole pack of chicken, plus you get more. To the pound of chicken thighs, and you know what, you can use chicken breasts if that's what you prefer. We just prefer eating thighs. Adding 1/2 teaspoon of just regular sugar. 1 tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. Shaoxing wine is just a cooking wine. You can use, we've used bourbon in the past. You can use a dry sherry. You can use sake. Just anything that you would use in place of a cooking wine. And 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. We will link some of the sauces down in the description to Amazon, but if you can find it in a local Asian market, that's your best bet. And about 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. I'm just going to stir this up and let it marinate while we prepare the rest of the ingredients. There's actually not a whole lot to do. I have a small thumb-size piece of ginger that I'm just gonna slice up. I've already peeled it, and if you're not gonna peel it, that's fine. Just make sure you wash it really well. And I just use the back of a knife to, like a back of a paring knife, to take off the skin. And we're just gonna thinly slice it.
You know what, that totally looked like a thumbs up. Do you see that? That's the Facebook thumbs up. You're gonna get sued by Zuckerberg. Can I see it? Can I see the side profile?
Of that thumb?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, kind of, right? And we have one, I guess a smallish, medium-sized onion. I'm just gonna slice. And you can chop it up however you want. I am cutting it up in slices, and I like to slice my onions from top to bottom instead of around the middle. If you look at the side of the onion, you can see like all these ridges, and if you cut them this way, then it might fall apart. So I find that if I cut from like top to bottom, that the slices actually stay together better. I just like the texture better, if that makes sense. Okay, I have 1 clove of garlic. I'm just going to chop up. You can put it through a garlic press if you want, but I have some time to let my chicken marinate, and I'm just going to chop it up. I have 2 green onions that I'm just going to cut up into 2-inch pieces. I want to cook up the white parts of the green onions with the regular onion, and I'm just going to chop up the rest. And I have about ½ a pound of just button mushrooms, white mushrooms, and I'm just going to slice these up. Now we're going to prepare the sauce. I have ½ a cup of chicken broth. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce and 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce. I'm using dark soy sauce because I like the color added to the chicken. Just makes it more brown. But if you don't have dark soy sauce, you can surely use just regular soy. Just want to stir it up. And the thing about Chinese cooking is you just have to get everything ready to go because the cooking process is super fast. Ready? Right, I am heating my wok up on high heat. And if you don't have a wok, you can use a large frying pan. My mom actually loved using her cast iron frying pan, so she hardly ever used a wok. But I like using a wok because I find it's easier to move the food around and cook it to exactly the way I want it. Once you see a wisp of smoke, add a tablespoon of vegetable oil or whatever oil you're using, and add your chicken. We're going to let that sear for about a minute or so, just so that we get a nice caramelization on one side before we start moving it around. Right. Look at that. Also, when you let your chicken or any meat that you're cooking cook for just that minute, it also prevents it from sticking to the bottom. So if you didn't marinate the meat, you're not going to get this nice brown coloring on there because it's actually the sugars and the sauce that is creating that caramelized color on your chicken. And you want the chicken to cook through completely. So just make sure that it is no longer pink inside. And once your chicken is cooked through, I turned off the heat because I don't want the wok to keep sizzling away. I'm just going to remove it onto a clean plate. All right. So we have all this extra oil and fat in there because of the chicken skin, and that's going to be super flavorful going into the mushrooms. So I'm turning my heat back on to medium heat. And if you don't have enough oil in your pan, you can always just add some more if you don't have this extra fat going. So mushrooms are going in. And onions. The same thing, I just want mushroom to kind of sear a little bit on the bottom before moving it around. All right. I'm gonna cook this for about a minute or two. Because I cut up my onions like this, they will cook through quickly. If you decide that you want them to be bigger chunks, it might take a little bit longer to cook through, or maybe you just like your onions to be a little bit undercooked. It's all up to you. I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil because I wanna get my ginger and garlic going in here. I'm gonna let that cook for about 30 seconds until you start to smell it, and then we're gonna move it around. Our sauce is going in. This is a good time to scrape up some of those bits at the bottom of your pan. That's all added flavor. Right, and then pouring the chicken back in along with all the juices. I'm gonna heat that through. If you find that the sauce is too thin and you want a thicker sauce, you can eat it like this if you like, but we're gonna thicken our sauce. I'm adding a tablespoon of cornstarch to a small bowl, adding about a tablespoon of water. And it has to be room temperature water or cold water. And we're just going to stir it up into a slurry. Add it to our sauce. And now it's gravy. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, looks so good. Okay, turning off the heat, adding those green onions that we cut up, along with about a teaspoon of sesame oil. I have a teaspoon left in here.
Approximately.
Approximately a teaspoon of sesame oil. And that is it, you guys. Check it out. Oh my goodness. That was enough sesame oil because I can totally smell it. All right. Put it in a serving plate or bowl. And this is another reason why I love the wok, is that I can get my scraper in there and get everything out. Nothing's left behind. Check it out. Is that good or what?
Oh yeah.
Are you all ready for?
Oh yeah. The taste. Life is busy and we're schlepping the kids around and our busy schedules coming home from work. You still gotta eat, and hopefully you're still gonna enjoy your food. The easy thing to do is just go for takeout, go for fast food, and just eat, and you're not necessarily enjoying the food. And what you wind up with is also an emptier wallet. So as Flo alluded to, and she had described how much she paid for the meat, it's just taking the basics, creating a quick meal, and this is a whole meal going on here. You add your rice as the side, and really this is so filling and satisfying. All right, perfect bite. The sauce envelops the meat and you get the texture of the onion and the mushroom. I'm not a big mushroom guy. Maybe my taste buds are changing, but in this adds another dimension, adds another texture profile. Awesome mouthfeel. The sauce is so flavorful. It's gonna go awesome on the rice. Put that in your mouth, man, it's a party in your mouth and then in your tummy. So good.
Thanks, dude. You can change this up however you like. If you don't like chicken, use pork. If you want, you can change up the mushrooms. Don't just use button mushrooms, or use a medley of mushrooms. Use shiitake mushrooms or oyster mushrooms. So many possibilities. You just have to take a chance. For more easy, simple Chinese home-style recipes, check it out. I will see you over there.